Hey guys, in this video we're going to take a look at how we can take a Mozaik job, export that out of Mozaik into SketchUp, and then from SketchUp into VORTEK Spaces. The purpose of this video is to give you a bit of a rundown on the process, but also explain how you can take a Mozaik drawing where you've been able to produce the CAD drawing very fast, easily and efficiently, and then take that into a professional 3D rendering solution like VORTEK Spaces to help get the best possible end result for your clients. So what I have open in front of me here is a 3D view of a kitchen that's been drawn in Mozaik, and I'll just have a bit of a spin around here. And as you can see, this is a fairly decent 3D view that's just been created and generated directly in Mozaik. You're able to zoom in nice and close and see what's going on here. It's very fast and easy to move around, very snappy and responsive there. But if you want to take that to the next level and generate a professional 3D render, you need to go from Mozaik into SketchUp and then SketchUp into something like VORTEK Spaces. And that's what we're going to be focused on in this video. So let's close out of the 3D view here and walk you through the process of how you can do that. Now in this video, I'm also going to show you how you can import in models such as, I'm going to use the example of a bar stool. And with this example of a bar stool, I'm going to show you how you can do that in SketchUp by downloading something from the 3D warehouse. It's important to note that you can also save that model as a SKP file and import it into Mozaik, so next time around you could just draw that file in Mozaik. You could also do that in VORTEK Spaces, so there are 3 different avenues where you might want to import the models, and either one of them are fine. So in this example, I'm going to do that in SketchUp. Okay, so at this point we've completed our drawing in Mozaik and we're happy to take that out into SketchUp. So to do that, I'm going to start on the product page here. And I'm going to navigate across and click on the SketchUp button. When you click the SketchUp button, you'll notice a little dialog window pop up here where it gives you a couple of options where you can either have cabinet labels turned on, or if you want a floor generated, and whether you'd like operations or if you want to remove the handles or doors. So I'm going to leave it on with the floor ticked on. I'm not going to have any cabinet labels. I'm going to click OK there. What will happen next is Mozaik will launch SketchUp and import the Mozaik file into SketchUp for you. So that's what you're seeing happening right now. It takes a minute for SketchUp to open. Note that this will be linked to whichever version of SketchUp you're using. I'm running 2022 on my PC, so it's opened this file in 2022. Zooming around here now, I can see the Mozaik job is open in SketchUp, and then I've got the full native tools in SketchUp to enhance this drawing, whether I want to put a ceiling in, or I want to extend my floor, or perhaps I'd like to add in 3D models. You can also go ahead and do things like in your tags on the side there, turn off dimensions if you don't want to see them in your 3D render. Recommend turning them off. So coming in here, let's take a look at the example of setting up some bar stools along the back edge of this island bench. So to do that, I'm going to go across to the window view and click on 3D Warehouse. That's going to launch the 3D Warehouse. Note that you will need to have an active account with SketchUp. It doesn't need to be an active subscription. It just needs to be an account, which can be a free account. That's then going to launch the 3D Warehouse. And if you've already got signed into your account, it will show you this and you will be able to download straight away. So what I'm going to do is search for a bar stool. So simply enter the type of thing that you want to search for and press enter, and then you'll be presented with different options. I'm going to go ahead and use this Astro bar stool, so I'm just going to click the download button, and it's going to prompt me here and ask me if I would like to download that directly into my active SketchUp model. I'm going to choose yes for that option. That's going to download the model, and then soon my cursor will become active with that model in place, ready for me to place that in the drawing. Okay, as you can see now, I can see the bar stool, so I can bring that across and place that where I'd like. I'm going to drop it in right about there. Next, I might want to adjust the scale because it looks a little tall. So I'm going to go across to the scale tool in SketchUp. Then I'm going to click on this middle node point here and just reduce this height down slightly. That looks about right. Next, I'm going to press M for move, and I'm going to create a copy of this. So I'm just going to move and copy this across. If you press Control on the keyboard, it will create an active copy of the item that you're moving. I'm going to move this across to the other side of the island, right about there. And then I want 4 of them, so I'm going to press /3, which is divide by 3. Once I press enter, as you'll see, that will give me 4 bar stools evenly spaced. So very quick and easy to use the SketchUp's native tools to help you generate something like that. It's got fast and efficient tools at 3D modeling, one of the things that SketchUp is so good at. Let's take a look at putting a ceiling in this job. So I'm going to go across and press the rectangle option, and I'm just going to scroll up here and get my corner point and snap across to the outside corner here. Now you can press the up arrow if you want to lock the references there, and you can snap to the outside there and then drag it across until you get your point in the right location. Once you drop your point there, you can press the P for push pull and then lift your ceiling up to whatever thickness you want your ceiling represented as. I'm going to enter 100 millimeters. So let's get into how we can export out to Spaces. If you've got your VORTEK Spaces extension in SketchUp installed, you'll have this little toolbar at the top of the menu here. You can also get to the same thing by going to Extensions and then down to VORTEK and then the various options here. So we want the Export to VOK option, which you can also do by clicking this option here, Export your model as a VOK file. So I'm going to choose that option there. And then when it pops up, I'm going to save this into my Mozaik job file, but you can save it in a location that suits your workflow. I'm going to change the name here. Instead of room 1, I'm going to pick up the Mozaik job name and I'm going to call it Lane Residence. I'm going to hit save, and that's all you need to do. The VOK file is now exported out of SketchUp and is ready to be imported into VORTEK Spaces. So I'm going to hand over to Jonathan and allow him to walk you through the process on how you can take this file and create a professional 3D render.
Thank you, David. My name is Jonathan, and I will show you how to import that Mozaik project into VORTEK Spaces to create a wonderful presentation in no time. So what you see right now, this is the start screen of Spaces where I can see all of the projects I've been working on lately. First step, I'll go and click on select the file to import to go and load the file that was sent to me by David. And then click on import to load the file into Spaces. Spaces is using video game technologies to be able to render those rooms and help you create those designs in a live environment. So at this moment, Spaces is recreating that room into that 3D environment. Now the project is open. So what you see right now, this is pretty much the same thing as what we had in Spaces, but now inside Spaces, you can easily move inside of the project. First thing to know is how to move around the project. So using your mouse, you can click on the left click to move your head around. And so basically you always stay in the same position, but you just look in different directions. When you use the right click on your mouse, it's called a pan. So it's just like if I was putting my hand on the screen to go up, down, left, and right in the project. You can also use the wheel to go back and forth in the project. It will follow where your mouse is, so I can put it on the left or on the right, and it will follow where the mouse is positioned inside of my project. So one thing that you'll notice in Spaces on the top are those different tabs that will determine what you're doing at the moment inside of the application. So when you click on materials, when you're in the materials, that's where you can apply all of the textures, because Spaces comes with thousands of different textures from the industry that you can go and pick from. So when you click on something, Spaces will create a group with everything that is sharing the same kind of texture inside of the SketchUp or Mozaik project. And it will open different libraries on the bottom where I can go and find the different manufacturers that I want to use. So for example, I can go and use some Egger laminate and just go find the color that I'm looking for. You can use the material filter on the bottom if you already know the name of the material that you're looking for. Which is not my case. I'll just go and pick like this one. Then if I click on the other doors here, you'll see that it will go and pick all of the cabinets that were not selected the first time around. In this case, I'll go and click on the InDesign button. That one will only give me the product or the textures that have been applied already in the project. So I'll do here the same thing with the molding. As far as the island go, I can go here and find the color that I'm looking for. As I mentioned before, you can go and type the color of the material that you want, or you can just go and look through the different options we have here. Once you apply that wood grain texture on your project, you can also go and rotate that wood grain around. In this case here, I'll go and click on the shelves, use the InDesign button again to apply the same material to my project. Now to the countertops, pretty much same ideas. So when I go here in my countertop material, I'll be able to find the color. So, like in this case, if I want to type the Calcotech gray or like any type of different countertops, I'll be able to go and put it in my project. Then if I click here on the wood floors, we have some beautiful wood floors here in the flooring options. So I'll go and find the texture that I'm looking for. Something else that is nice with Spaces is that, as you saw before, we have a lot of textures that are made from the industry, but we also have some more generic ones, like some of those wood floors, for example, that are brandless, but you can use in any of your projects. Same thing here, you can use rotation. On those wood floors, there's even more options. So if you click on the pen icon button here on the left, you'll be able to get the tile offset option. So for example, you can use the herringbone pattern, or just leave it with a random wood pattern. If you're looking, for example, for exactly this type of wood, but maybe with a shade more red or darker, what you can do is right click on the material, go copy and edit. At this moment, I'll be creating a copy of the material, so I still have the original if I want to use it somewhere. But now with that copy, I have even more options. So I'll be able to change, for example, the mean color. So if I want to make it a little bit more red and a little bit darker, so you see here, I can easily just go and adjust it. I can also change the smoothness of my texture, so I'll make it more glossy on my project like that. And again, everything that you do is live, so you can always see instantly what you're doing. There's also something else that you'll notice, and it's called the texture intensity. So a lot of the texture that you'll find in Spaces, even some of the laminates, the floorings, a lot of the generic textures, when I mean like leathers, metal, they have an actual texture. So when you move around, you see the light reflecting in the cracks of those wood floors as well. After that, for any projects that you have, also basically anything that will be metal or shiny in appliances, we have beautiful chrome textures, we have beautiful stainless steel textures as well that will just make everything look more real, more natural instantly. Same thing for those stools here. I can go and find some metal. I can put some gold finishes so it shines a little bit better. In this project, I'll also go and replace the glass because they're not transparent. So I'll just go and put some transparent glass inside of my project. So you see, now that we're done playing with the materials, next step will be to go in the 3D models. So what you'll find in 3D models are collections of different items that you can add to your projects to make them look more realistic and more lifelike. So what you'll find in there that will be interesting for this project, for example, will be appliances. So you see here, like in the appliances, we have a good collection. It's an ever evolving collection. So we have people that are creating those models pretty much full time, and if you need anything that is not in there, just let us know, and that will help us decide exactly what we're looking for. So we have like different brands and models. One thing that is nice also with the 3D models is that even if you don't find, for example, like the oven that will be perfectly placed for this, you can just go and place it roughly where it should be going in the hole here. And then I'll be using the scale option. So there's a scale button here on the left, but I'm also using this S letter on my keyboard, which is the shortcut for the scales. I can easily just go and position it here perfectly. And then I'll just push it back a little bit like that. After that, in the 3D models, you'll find also a bunch of different plans. I always like to say that plans are live. So whenever you add those objects to your project, they give some life to any projects. So here we'll find some plants maybe that we can put in the middle. I'll just go with this. It's simple, and then I'll make it a little bit bigger, just so we see it more. After that, in the 3D models, you'll find also like kitchen sinks. We have bathroom accessories, a bunch of different kitchen accessories. So from dinnerware, so it makes it very easy if you want to put stuff in the shelf, on the shelves, on the countertops. So you see here, I can go and put some balls. When you put that 3D model, it will follow where your mouse is, so it's very easy to position inside of that hole. Again, just because I'm lazy a little bit, I'll just go and scale them to make them a little bit bigger in my project. After that, if I go back to the kitchen here, like we have small appliances, stuff again that you can go and put even on the shelves or on the countertops like that. We have in the 3D models a lot of here. So here we have like animated dogs and cats as well that are really nice and make everybody laugh whenever you put that in there. So if I can go and put that corgi that is looking around, so I'll just put in the corner of the kitchen. It's really nice because they're animated. It's very subtle, so you know, it's something like whenever you record a video and you want to show that to your customer, like everybody will laugh, have a good time. So that's basically the kind of ambience you want to have into like a selling environment. In here you'll have doors, windows, we have also trees with moving leaves, wardrobe accessories, the whole Wayfair catalog. So Wayfair is just like an Amazon for furniture. So this one contains over 40,000 different models in there. So for example, you know, if you want to put like stools here, so you see like just for kitchen stools, there's over 778 different models that you can go and look at. And now you might say that there are already some stools in this project, but I don't really care. So I'll just go and add more. And then I'll show you that we can update the file out of SketchUp and delete or you know, remove whatever we want from there. So I'll just go and put some of those chairs here. Like they look pretty incredible. So again, I'm using a lot of the keyboard shortcuts. Like for rotation here, the letter Q will make the object turn by 15 degrees, just like that. So now to show you how to remove those tools out of my project, what I'll do is just go back to the SketchUp project. In here, I'll just go and select those 4 stools and delete them, just like that. And then you see in the export button for spaces, the first button will go and export your project. And then the second one will basically just overwrite over the original VOK file. So when I click on that, it will go and re-export the file, but override the original version of my file. And whenever it's done, Spaces will realize that there's an updated version of this file that now exists, and we'll just load it automatically. So you see I had nothing to do on the Spaces side, and it just reloads the project. It will keep everything that was there originally and just remove whatever was changed in my SketchUp project. So now I can go and add those stools here. And then again, using the letter I on my keyboard, I can make copies of that item. So I can put a little bit more here inside of my project. You know, sometimes what I like to do is just go and move them or rotate them just a little bit so it looks a little bit more natural. Like that here. After that, for example, if you want to add a backsplash, you know, there's different tricks to do that. Either you add the backsplash in Mozaik or in SketchUp, but if you want to add it here in Spaces, basically when I click on that wall, it will go and select the whole back wall. So if I don't want to have ceramic that will go all the way up to that wall, there's a small trick in the 3D model as well called the primitives. So in there, you'll find different types of shapes where you can go and apply any textures and resize them to your needs. So for example, I'll just go and use that panel here. Use my scaling option to bring it down here. That. Oops. Just move it back a little bit here. So you see now if I go in material, here, I'll go and apply some of my ceramics. So for example, here in my ceramics, again, I can go and type the name, but you know, if I'm looking for a color, I can also use my color picker. In this case, like maybe I want to go wild and you know, use like a blue color or something like that inside of my project. So I can go and apply it here. You know, same thing as with the wood floors with those types of tiles here. When I click on the pen icon, I'll be able to choose like the grout color. So in this case, maybe I'll go with something lighter, like this one. Like that. I can also pick how the tiles will be laid out on the wall. So I'll go with a herringbone pattern in this case. So here, I'll just go and move it back a little bit. Like that in the project. So yeah, that's pretty much it for those 3D models. Next step after that, we'll go in the staging area. So in the staging, this is where we go and play with the lighting of our project. When we first start inside of the project, there's no actual lights in the project. The only reason I can see is because there's something called the ambient light. If I was to go and turn that off, you'll see that it's very, very dark inside of my project. Even if it's bright outside, since I'm doing a live rendering, that brightness from the exterior of the project is not shown inside of my project. So this is why we add the ambient light inside of the project. So what I'll do here, first step, I'll just go and reduce maybe that ambient light. You know, this is something where you don't really have to do that in the beginning, but it just helps whenever you're going to add the light. So when I'm in the staging tab of my software, I'll just click L on my keyboard, and then you see now there's a plus sign next to my mouse. So if I go and click somewhere, you see it will go and add the light. As soon as you add it, you see the result instantly of that light. So when I go and click on it, I'll go and be able to play with the intensity, so I can make it stronger. I can play with the range, which is how far from the light the objects will be affected. We've got the angle in the case of the spotlights. So we have spotlights. We also have point lights. So point lights is more like a ball of light that will emit light in all directions. So I can go and just move that anywhere in my project. Just like the 3D models, you can take that light and just move it and place it exactly where it should be inside of your project. So with this one, I'll just leave it there and maybe even turn it off for the moment. I will show you some of the best tricks to obtain some very realistic type of renderings. So what I'll do here is just start where I have windows in my project. You see when I put two lights at the same height level, they'll be grouped together, so I don't need to go and adjust them one by one. I'll just rotate them so they're throwing light inside of my room, then switch them to a point light. And then when you have the point lights on the bottom here, you've got what we call the IES profiles. So those are type like shapes of light beams. So they will really help creating that really nice feeling of a natural light coming inside of that room. So you see here, after that, I can take that light now and play with the range. So you see here when I look at the range, so like the light is going all the way to the back wall. So like maybe this way is good. You can also play with the temperature of your lighting, depending on you know what color exterior would be of your project. And here, just reduce the intensity to 1 maybe. So you know you can take that light, you can even move it a little bit apart from the wall if you want, so it will give some different effects. But in this case, I think it's better if I leave it very close to it, just like that. So one thing I wanted to add and that I forgot to do in the 3D model was you know, pendant lights. So I'll just look for a belt pendant inside of my Wayfair collection, where there's like tons of different options that you can go and pick from. You know, sometimes that's like the biggest complaint that we might have with those type of objects is that there's like too many choices. So again, what I'll do here, I'll just go and put them here on my island like that. Then I'll use Control to go and select them all together. The reason why I put them on the island, sometimes with a pendant, it's easier to put them down and then just raise them up like that inside of the project. When I have selected those 4 lamps as well, there's a small button here, like a lot of people don't notice it, but it's called Align Selected Objects. So when I do that, the software will just make sure that they're all aligned perfectly in the same straight line, and then they'll be spaced evenly inside of the project as well. So let's go back to the staging now, where I can go and readjust my lights. So you see now with those point lights in the windows, because of my lights here, it's showing a lot of different shadows that might be unwanted. So that's when really I want to go and play with my range and reduce it a little bit. Then after that, here in the light settings, you see we have the sun. So with the sun, you can go and play with the direction of the sun. In this case, you know, there's an open wall behind me, so I'll just kind of keep it quite simple. But you know, like if you want to create a really nice effect whenever the sun is hitting here on the floor, so I'll just go and do it about here. I'll add 2 lights on the floor where the sun is touching. Again, the 2 lights will be selected together, so adjust it at the same time. I'll turn them into point lights. Those ones are meant to kind of reflect the sunlight inside of my room, so I'll go and make them a little bit warmer here, and then I'll raise them up a little bit here and play that here. After that, there's also something else that is nice to like know in the lights here, is that we have LED strips. So with the LED strips, I can basically just go and click here one side to the other side, and after that, when you go to adjust it, the middle arrows will adjust the whole LED bar, and otherwise if you pick the ones on the left, on the right, it will go at an angle. So I'll just go and do the same thing here, just like that, and then raise it up a little bit. Then we have pretty much the same settings as far as intensity and range and all of that. But again, you know, with Spaces, our goal is to try to, as much as possible, to have all of those settings pre-made or pre-set up for your pre-picked, so you don't have to go and play with all of those settings one by one. After that, here, that light in the ceiling, that's one trick that we use sometimes. You know, when you're done with the lighting, you can just go add 1 light. It will be about you know, like 30 to 45 centimeters from the ceiling. And then this one here, I'll just go and put no shadows. So it will kind of, you know, erase a lot of the shadows that are unwanted inside of the project, but keeping the whole effect of the light coming from the exterior of that scene. And like in Spaces, there's a bunch of different settings that will make your the lights being auto adjusted. So just like a phone, when you go into a bright room and then into a darker room in your in recording a video, you'll see that the camera will be adjusting. So now that we're done with the lights here in the staging, we also have what we call skyboxes. So the skyboxes are 360-degree pictures. They'll show all around of your project. Sometimes it will create some, if you have an open wall in your project, it might create some weird reflections in the projects. But in this case, I guess it's not too bad, because when we see it from the window, it will look pretty good. I'll try to adjust my views as well, so I don't see on the open side behind me. Another trick also, now that I've added some lights over the island, I can go and pick the underside of those lights here and apply what we call an emissive material. So an emissive material is a material that will look just like if it was, a light. So when you go and pick the emissive material, you see like the first one is pretty bright. And again, you can just do copy and edit. And then in the appearance here, you can play with the emission level. So you see here when I play with that, so it just makes it like very bright. And sometimes I'll like to make it just a little bit warmer as well, like a bit more like yellowish, orange type of color, like that. Maybe a bit more, just like that. So it looks very, very real inside of the project. And I don't even need to add light objects underneath them. But if you really want to do that, again, it's very simple. So I can just go use L on the keyboard, add a couple of lights underneath. They'll all be selected together. So I can go and play with the range here, just make it a little bit bigger. Like that, maybe the angle wider. Just like that. All right, so now the next step will be to go and create the viewpoints of the project. So the viewpoints, they act just like the scenes inside of SketchUp, for those who are familiar with that. So basically, like when I click on the viewpoint list, if you put scenes in your SketchUp, they'll all show up here in Spaces. In this case, I'll just go and delete them all so I can start fresh. So you see right now, this is like the first view that I want to save for my images. So I'll just save this viewpoint. So the viewpoints in Spaces, they have 3 different jobs. The first one will be any viewpoints that you save there will become a picture of the project when you go and save the project. So if you have like 10 viewpoints, that means you're getting 10 pictures every time you save that project. The other reason why we have those viewpoints is that if you use Spaces live with a customer, you can just click on any of the viewpoints and then the camera will just go and move to that different location. And then the third reason is for the video walkthrough. So when you start recording the video walkthrough, the camera will simply visit all of the different viewpoints that you've set up in your project. So that's for that reason, we have very simple transition effects as well. So when you have, for example, a skip to the next viewpoint, it will just make the camera stop and then start somewhere else in the project. So that will allow you to create some really nice scenes, and camera moving. For example, one type of view that I like to have is I have like a very straight view close to the countertop, and then I'll move from there to the right, just like that. And then I can add like another skip. Maybe I want to go here on this side. And when you use transitions, it's very easy to add views where you're up and then you go down in the project. Like that. And you'll notice also that when I go and add those viewpoints, there are timestamps. So like I'm kind of previewing how long it will take to go and watch that whole video. And then in this case, what I'll do, I'll just go and finish with a view where I'm starting from here, and then I'll just finish on the first view again. So add that as well. So you see right now, like the whole video will be 1 minute to watch. You have the speed on the bottom that you can go and adjust. The other settings here, you've got like a speed transition, so you can adjust the speed in between 2 different points to make them go faster or slower. Some pause options. There are also some really nice options. For example, when you right click on the viewpoint, where you can add elements. One of them is called the object entrance animation. This one is a really nice setting where it will go and take any of the 3D models that you add to your project and animate them coming inside of your project. So you can determine how much time it will take. Sometimes I like to match, pretty much like the time it takes to get from one viewpoint to the other. So in this case, we can make it a bit longer. So it will move through 2 different viewpoints like that. Then after that, in this window, we have the recording options. That's where you'll find the video resolution. So you can go 720p all the way up to 4K. Also have a square and a story resolution for Instagram and Facebook. We have a built-in upload to YouTube, a video personalization. That's where you can pick the name that will be showing at the beginning of the videos. Different soundtrack options that you can go and pick. You know, they're all soundtracks. They really help whenever you're showing the video to your customer to add the mood to your room whenever you're showing it to them. Then after that, if I go here and save the project, so as I mentioned before, all of the viewpoints will be converted into pictures. So when I'm saving right now, like I don't remember, I probably had 10 viewpoints. So right now I'm creating 10 renderings of my project. So that's very, very quick to create the pictures. What's really nice with that as well is that every time you save, the software will delete the pictures you had and replace them with new ones. So if you make any changes, you don't need to go yourself and delete any of the pictures that you might have saved there. All right, so now if I click in the gallery, I'll be able to see all of the renderings that have been saved of my project. Now for video, as I mentioned, all I have to do is just click on the red button to start a recording of my video. So when I click on it, you see the camera will go back to the first viewpoint and will start moving slowly inside of my project. So depending on the graphic card on your computer, that's where it will make the most difference. Meaning if you have a bigger graphic card, the video recording will be faster. But you know, even on a computer like mine, for example, it will take about 2 minutes, 3 minutes maybe to record that whole video. So even if I had a much slower graphic card, maybe it's double the time, so maybe it's 6 minutes or 8 or 10, but it's never half an hour or to record a video. So we like to say that every customer do deserve a video of their project. So I'll just let it go and record like that for a couple of seconds, and then I'll be able to show you exactly what's going on after. So I'll just maybe speed up that time so you see what's going on after. All right, so now the video is done recording. It will go and open that preview window where you can go and watch in the video and see exactly what it looked like once finished. In this case, after that here, I've got the upload to YouTube panel. So whenever I'm ready, I can just click on start upload to upload that video on my channel. And then I'll link a video in the description of this video, so if you want to see the final result in 4K quality. I just want to remind you before I let you go that we do offer 2 weeks free trial of the application, so you can go on vortekspaces.com and just show you here when you click on the top right, free trial. So that's where you can go and start it. 2 weeks, no credit cards required, very easy. So you know pretty much how to use it right now. So next step is just to go and start your free trial, and let me know if you have any questions. You can contact us by email or use the online chat on our website as well. Thank you very much and have a great time. Bye-bye.